Hey everyone, RogueGold here, and today we've got a very important date coming up. A date in which we could be receiving both our next big news dump for either the Division 2, the Division Heartland, or both. Now, this recurring event that's coming in less than 3 weeks has actually provided us with some of our biggest news updates on these two projects ever since we went into silence mode early last year. And you may have guessed it, that's Ubisoft's latest investors call. I wanted to make this video as a big PSA to all hopeful Division fans out there who are waiting for news about the franchise, because these investors calls usually don't come around without mention of the Division in some form, and given we're nearing the eventual release of Heartland and the Division 2's new content, it would not surprise me in the least if we get some sort of mention here. These investors calls, at least for me personally, always seem to sneak up. I suppose before the first one last year, we didn't have much of a reason to keep an eye on them, but I'm not exaggerating when I say that they've given us some of the big Division news over the past year. I'm going to recap that stuff in a second, but in general, I'm glad that the thought popped into my head to check when the next one of these was coming up, and I'm excited to share it with you all as a date that we can all mark on our calendars now in the hopes of receiving some Division Universe news in some fashion. That date is Thursday, February 17th, 2022, so like I said, in under 3 weeks. I'm not sure what time, but I'm sure those details will come around soon enough, but this is their Q3 sales report for fiscal 2021, and it wouldn't be the first time that a call of this designation gave us big Division news, and that's what I want to kind of recap now for anyone who may be skeptical. So mark that date, February 17th, if you're going to click off. Obviously, if there's news, I will be doing a video as soon as it drops, but what might we be able to expect? Well, let's take a look back over the past year and see what these investors calls have offered us. The day was February 9th, 2021. The community was at a very low point. Having received the news of Massive's Star Wars game and having not gotten any official updates from the team, we didn't really know what the Division's future was as a franchise as a whole. And then it was at this Q3 earnings report for fiscal 2020, so the exact same event that's taking place in 2.5 weeks, where we got the news that the Division 2 was going to be receiving more content in the form of various updates across 2 years. So the announcement of Division 2's future came from this investors call, and it wouldn't shock me if something similar were to happen here. That wasn't the only time it happened in 2021, however, because then on May 11th, following the big announcement of the Division Universe and their, plan to build and the announcement of the Division Heartland, Ubisoft dedicated a big section of their full year earnings call that day to tout their latest announcement and endeavor of this IP and these projects. And that kind of, translated this excitement into tangible information for the investors. And again, it would not surprise me if we get something similar here, depending on the internal planned release dates for Heartland and the Division 2's new update. Not to mention, the former of those two, Heartland, still has that leaked February 23rd date floating around out there that we don't know if it's legit or not. If it is, then obviously we're going to hear about that, more than 6 days prior when this investors call will take place, probably announcing it on social media beforehand, maybe even in the coming, next few days or weeks. I don't even know. That wasn't it, though. Then we also have their first half fiscal 2021 sales call on October 28th, 2021, where they shared the news that Heartland had an official quote-unquote delay into fiscal 2022, which, as I've explained before, totally contradicts that February 23rd date, but until we hear more information, it's kind of hard to gauge what the real plan really is. So guys, point being with all of that stuff is that 3 out of the 4 Ubisoft earnings calls during 2021 delivered us sizable, relevant, and important news for the Division franchise. Again, the Q3 earnings report, the same event coming up in 2 weeks, announced Division 2's continuation. The full year earnings boasted the Division Universe's announcement, and the first half sales report relayed the Division Heartland's supposed delay. The only investors meeting which did not bring up any news, at least to my recollection, was the Q1 sales report, which was in July of last year, so a somewhat slow time for game news anyway. But yeah, point still stands. 3 out of 4 of these have, given us big news last year, and the next one that's coming up in less than 3 weeks, February 17th, and I think it's absolutely a possibility that we get some updates to these projects that we've been waiting so eagerly for. Doesn't mean we will, doesn't mean anything is confirmed. Again, I just wanted to make this as a PSA video. It isn't going to be super long, but given these investors calls always seem to sneak up on me at least, and given their actual relevance to our game over the course of the past year, I figured a good number of you would probably want to know and are glad to hear that we have one coming up. And hopefully we can expect our latest updates to the status of the Division 2's new content, the Division Heartland, or maybe even mobile or other stuff. Who really knows? If not before, right? Especially with Heartland, I think we're on news watch from here on out, given everything that's going on behind the scenes, and it's going to be an exciting day when we all check our phones one morning to see a Redstorm tweet saying, "Hey everyone, we wanted to tell you about a little game we have called Heartland." Everyone's going to lose their minds. It's an exciting time, and I'm excited for you all to be coming along on the journey with me. Thank you all all so much for watching. Leave a like if you enjoyed this video, and be sure to subscribe with notifications on so you can be updated every time I upload. Let me know your thoughts on this upcoming investors call. Given the news they brought us last year, do you anticipate us hearing anything about the Division 2, Heartland, or anything else at this Q3 earnings call? Or perhaps you think they're going to stay quiet for now? I know I and probably many of you certainly have our preferences there, but unfortunately the final decision does not lie with us. So for now, we're just going to have to cross our fingers and hope that we get some sort of news coming soon. But yeah, certainly leave your thoughts. I'll be very curious to hear what everybody is thinking. That's going to do it for me today, though, everyone. Once again, thank you all so much for watching. I hope you have a wonderful day, and until the next one, guys, RogueGold out.